Guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today we've got a Sparky deck for you guys. It's been a while since I shared a Sparky deck on the channel, but Zachy approached me saying that he absolutely loved this 3.1 Sparky Giant Beatdown deck. It's pretty cool. It has no other legendary cards but Sparky. Should I upgrade Sparky? I'm gonna upgrade Sparky. I'm a dirty gemmer. We did it. Sparky is now maxed. You know what? Let's just hop into a battle. You know, we can't not play a Sparky deck at the beginning of this video because, you know, when you get the opportunity to play her, she's more than a trash can on wheels, by the way. Do not say in the comments. Do not say it. I will ban you from the channel. I'm just joking. I won't ban you, but I will heart your comment. But don't say it. Don't say it. Anyway, so this deck is really unique and it's fun. And I will warn you guys, I'm going to pre-warn you guys that, first of all, this is pre-recorded, this replay, so I'm not playing and talking at the same time. Don't worry. Going against a Royal Giant deck. Oh, fun, 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 right? But luckily, this deck dominates against Royal Giants. So what was I going to warn you guys about? I'm going to warn you that this deck takes a little getting used to. It seems simple, it is simple, but let me just tell you my #1 tip after playing this deck probably about a dozen times myself is you get better every time you play it, like most decks, right? But also, sorry, a little raspy, I streamed early today, not late. But also with this deck is you're going to have to use your Giant as kind of a defensive big body, as a blocker, because there's no other cards in this deck. There's no Knight, there's no Ice Golem, there's not like that, there's no Dark Prince, you know, there's not that glass, that glass cannon, that meat shield for you. So oftentimes the Giant has to take on work defensively and offensively in this deck. Now, obviously, you guys can see there's a huge element to bait in this deck. However, it's not the Sparky Goblin Barrel deck that we shared previously on CWA. So what's the bait? Well, obviously we have bats in this deck, we have spear goblins in this deck, and we also have goblin gang in this deck. So how do you work these cards to your advantage? Well, #1 is obviously the opponent has to choose. Do they want to zap like that circumstance right there, right? Against this player, he zapped my spear goblins. You can always use your spear goblins and your bats to bait out the opponent's zap. And then once you do, Sparky has free reign, and that's what it's all about in this deck. Although I will tell you that although Sparky does oftentimes secure you the win in this deck, oftentimes, it's going to be the Giant. Sparky's going to be more of a defensive helper in this deck rather than a big offensive juggernaut, right? So here we go. We're just going to keep the pressure up at this point. We got that left tower down really early. If the opponent pumps up early, wasn't the case in this match, but just in general, if you're going against a 3 Musketeer deck, if you're going against a Golem deck, the best way to handle that is just drop a Giant in the lane and then support it with one of the zap bait cards, such as bats or spear goblins, and then once they use their log or their zap, you can try to punish with goblin gang or the other one of the zap bait cards. So really good punish ability. Punish ability? I think that's a word, right? Really good, whatever that is, in this deck. So a nice value fireball here as my opponent starts to get a little bit desperate, and we pull out the victory. This is a fun deck to play. And back to my pro guest here. By the way, you should check out his YouTube channel. I will link it for you guys in the description below. He's Serbian. However, the gameplay is just out of this world. A really good player here. So what we're going to do is link that for you. I'll also link a video that he did on this deck, just if you want more kind of replays, because I feel like this deck, the more you watch it, the more you kind of get a feel for how to play it, right? So in the right hands, it can be a total viable deck. So it's really a pleasure of mine to do a Sparky deck video on this channel. It's been, like I said, about a month or so. So here we go. A lot of you have been asking for it too, so I hope you enjoy. So here's going to be the first kind of defensive job that we have to do here, and you're going to see he's going to get great value out of that Ice Spirit, and he's going to use his Giant, as we talked about, as kind of a big defensive shield against that Dark Prince, and one bat, annoyingly, still left alive there. Now we're going to go ahead and, that bat was on our side, not his side, Ash. Come on, dude. Pay attention. So that was a great fireball there by Zachy. He takes out that Musketeer, and look at that, he takes the tower down to 417 damage left. Wow, what a great play that was. And, you know, things weren't looking good early on there, but you can see how we used the giant as a defensive stopper, and then we were patient. Another way we can use our horde cards, our swarm cards is the word I'm looking for, the Goblin Gang, the Spear Goblins. Another way we can use those in this deck is defensively one at a time. All right, one at a time, or with really, really well thought out spacing. So against any big beatdown push, obviously Sparky's going to beat your girl. She's going to take care of you and keep you going. But the thing about Sparky is once the giant is down, you need to make sure you protect her. But here, obviously, she got a ton of value, taking out the Dark Prince, some of the support troops, and also the giant. So here we're going to go opposite lane. Going opposite lane is something that we see Zaki do quite a bit in these matches, especially in the upcoming matches. We're not going to watch everything against Goizen. We're going to try to switch things up here and make sure the opponents have both Zap and also Log, because we do have 2 Log targets in Spear Goblins, actually 3, Spear Goblins, Ice Spirit, and Goblin Gang in this deck. It's a really fun deck, though. Did I mention it's fun? I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Anyway, here we go. Sparky. By the way, tournament today on Facebook. I'll put a link for you guys. If those of you who don't have Facebook, I apologize, but I was given a really unique opportunity to sign on with Facebook as a partner, so I took the opportunity. I said yes, and I'm having a lot of fun there streaming 10K tournaments. Today, we did really well. We went 10-2 with a 3 Musketeer deck. We ended up finishing in 25th place, so not too bad. So definitely tune in and watch me play, watch me tilt, watch me do well. It's fun either way. I try to engage with you guys as much as I possibly can. Anyway, back to the match here. You can see that even though the opponent's getting a lot of damage on our towers, we're doing a very, very good job making them split the damage. However, he is going to get that left tower down. Now watch this match, guys. I brought you probably the best match first, and keep in mind this is a 12 win in a grand challenge against another 20-win player. So both these guys know what they're doing. How do we stop this here? Well, I told you in the beginning of this replay that we get a lot of value out of the Ice Spirit. That's exactly what happened there. We're able to Ice Spirit that giant. The opponent says, good game. How did he lose? He had the tower down to around 500 HP with an elixir advantage, but we were able to somehow defend there. Really good job. He decides, the opponent there, decides to go with a Log Fireball, but it's all for naught. He's not going to be able to get enough damage, not going to be able to cycle to another Fireball. We take that right tower down. Boom. Giant Sparky, OP, nerf Sparky, nerf Giant. I'm just joking. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. Whenever you say nerf or buff anything, people get so mad. I certainly wouldn't advise Supercell buffs Sparky. I do have to be clear, by the way, guys, that although Zaki's rattled off 12 win after 12 win after 12 win with this deck through repetition and really just getting an intimate knowledge of the cards and the interactions in this deck, I would say that the skill cap is actually higher than one would think. It's higher than on a classic beatdown deck, in my opinion, because, again, there is that bait element to this deck. You have to learn your spacing, learn what bait card is going to be appropriate in every situation. Obviously, if they have Log, you're going to be leaning a little bit heavier on your bats while the Log is in rotation. While it's not in rotation, you want to make sure you're using your Spear Goblins and your Goblin Gang rather aggressively, right? So, and the Ice Spirit as well. So not giving your opponent double value out of any of your bait cards is really important. Now let's focus on this next match here. We're going against a bait deck. It is the Valkyrie, I believe, Valkyrie bait deck, or it's just the Prince bait deck. Does it have Ice Wizard? I haven't been paying attention. Either way, I believe David BR is also a 20-win player. I do recognize that name from OS de Sorte clan. Anyway, we don't know what he has, but it looks like the new version of the Prince bait deck. I think I covered this deck quite a while ago. I also shared a newer version with Valkyrie as well. Either way, it's a tough matchup, right? And our deck doesn't have Log, it has Zap, so you can see the opponent's getting really early value out of keeping that princess alive and killing and having that Zap kind of hovering over the princess, killing our bats or our Spear Goblins before they take out the princess. And they definitely strike first onto Zaki, taking that right tower down to 1339 HP. So here we go. It's a Sparky in the left lane. This is going to be our big shot to try to get some damage here. What are we going to do? Are we going to drop the giant in front? I hope so. There it is. So obviously against this sort of a deck, we need to have an answer ready for the minion horde, and we do in that circumstance, right? We had the Zap ready to go. We had Spear Goblins, and then here comes Sparky at full health. We're supporting her pretty well here. there, and we keep spamming. The opponent uses their zap, but oh, they were able to cycle to that ice golem just in the nick of time. But here we know we have the opponent kind of on their toes. So we send in the giant right away. We send in bats right at the river, try to take care of that princess. He drops the minion horde, but we were ready for the zap again. We fireball that pesky princess. We get a little fireball value, taking that left tower all the way down to 539 damage, guys. That was a really lucrative push. And the one thing I want to point out about that little sequence there on the left, guys, as we defend on the right, is that having the fortitude, the knowledge to kind of go with the giant at the bridge, you can see that Zaki really puts pressure, really puts a lot of pressure with the giant played at the bridge rather aggressively. And you can see, takes that tower down to 71 HP. Beautiful, beautiful job. He'll be able to fireball this after he defends against this sequence here. Of course, doesn't want to be super aggressive there, so he uses his zap against the prince. Obviously not going to use it against the tower in that circumstance, 71 HP. Uses the fireball, defends first, and able to come away with a victory. Very, very nice gameplay there by Zaki. You can tell he's played this deck a lot. He just knows when to put on the pressure. Let's find a good matchup here to be the last one there. Graveyard deck. By the way, I have a really cool graveyard deck coming at you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a Lava Hound graveyard deck. Before you say, what the heck are you talking about, Ash? That's stupid. I swear. This deck is crazy and it's unique and weird, but it works. To the tune of 6 Grand Challenge wins in a row for the pro who's going to be on. I'll save that surprise for you for tomorrow. It should be coming pretty soon. Anyway, back to this episode. We have Zaki on the bottom. We have his opponent, Albert, at the top. So you can see early on in these matches, we're just kind of feel out the opponent. Again, we go a little aggressive here, and we drop that Goblin Gang behind the Giant. Not sure I agree with that play. Easy to say in hindsight, but watch what happens here. We don't take that Fireball value. A lot of people, I feel, would have Fireballed in that situation, and we also don't use the Ice Spirit here against, like, the Executioner. We're trying to save our Elixir, because what if the opponent pushes the opposite lane? Well, that's exactly what happened here. We had the bats ready, really mitigated any serious damage onto that right tower. Only took it down one hog swing to 2270. Meanwhile, we have a Sparky gone crazy, gone wild in the left lane. She's gonna, unfortunately, a knight can counter Sparky and still live to see another day. However, he won't get to the tower. So here, you know, we're gonna use the Spirit Goblins. We bait out the log there, so that's good. Now that we know we bait out the log, he makes another mistake here, I believe. He does. He sees that he baited out the log, and he's like, yeah, buddy. And then he's like, oh, crap. I forgot he had Executioner as well. So, unfortunately, that did not work out. And you know what? So, Zaki's making some mistakes early on here. But you're going to see that despite these few mistakes that he's made, he's still going to be able to do really good work here. So, again, we talked about this in the previous replay, guys. The opponent here, Albert, does not have Zap like the two previous opponents. He has Log. So that means we need to have our bats in cycle at the ready when he comes in with that hog. We also need to think about redirecting that Executioner. And as we said earlier, guys, we don't have a lot to redirect. We have to save the Giant for the Executioner in a lot of circumstances. So Albert plays Executioner in the back. We're going to go ahead and start a pretty big push of our own. Now we know we're going to have an answer to the opponent's hog, and we don't have anything to redirect the Executioner. So how are we going to handle this situation? We're cycling right now on the left. We have Spirit Goblins, Bats, and a Giant here. We bait out the log there, and Sparky takes care of the Executioner. Why did we go like that into the opposite lane? Well, simple. Number one is I think that Zaki was a little bit worried that he wasn't going to be able to handle the big push of the opponent had he not gone aggressive in the opposite lane there. And you can see now he's able to cycle back to the bats. He forces out a fireball just for bats there, and he's able to keep the tower standing. So now he went with the Giant with the aggressive push in the left lane so that the opponent couldn't support their push against his tower when he didn't have a lot of good answers. So he plays a Goblin Gang here, and then a beautiful fireball there, just absolutely annihilating that hog. The opponent does have log in cycle. Good log there, but one Spear Goblin survives on the left, taking it down to 616. Things still could go either way at this point, right? I mean, you can tell Albert's itching to get a Hog Fireball combo on that right lane. Can't send in the Hog because Sparky is doing a good job at another capability she has, right? She's a good lane blocker, and she's doing a great job at it right here. Now, we're going to be able to get this Giant to the tower, and look what happens! Oh my god, he NATO'd the Sparky away from the tower, but ladies and gentlemen, he put Sparky right into the range of the Executioner, and that seals the deal for Zaki there, guys. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay as much as I did. Go ahead and throw Zaki a subscription. His link, again, is in the description below. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information as well in the description below. Guys, thanks, and as always, take care, guys.